Outsiders, exciting news. We have our first merch for the show. We have masks with our amazing logo drawn by Aliza Layne.
And you can find our store hosted on bonfire.com. You can find that through our Twitter account and all our links account. But all the proceeds for this mask will be donated to Asian Americans Advancing Justice. So if you're looking to support us and a good cause and you want some merch, maybe think about buying a $9.99 mask.
Mask up like Batman and support our show.
Welcome to the Gotham Outsiders, our Batman book club. Armed with nothing but an uncanny ability to fake my own death, I'm your host, Bat Obsessive Chris. And wishing Go-Go the Magician would come to him, my co-host, TJ.
Hi, everyone. I am TJ, your Chris-proclaimed Batman acolyte.
But as usual, we need a little help with our adventure, so we brought in yet another Batcademic, Kyle Meikle, English and Communications professor at the University of Baltimore that teaches on adaptation, franchise, and animation. Hello, Kyle.
Hi, Chris. Hi, TJ. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming.
Happy to be here.
I understand you wrote a book that is pretty relevant to what we're talking about.
I did, yeah. So my first book it's called Adaptations in the Franchise Era, and it looks specifically at the history of adaptation between 2001 and 2016. And I write about streaming media, fandom, gaming and interactive media. I do mention the Batman Telltale, I'm sure that's in there, and theater and theme parks in the 2000s and 2010s. Yeah.
Oh, we love Batman Telltale.
So good.
Yes, we definitely go hard for that on here.
Yes.
So what is your relationship to Batman, Kyle?
Yeah, right. So when you all had asked me to join you, I started to think about sort of the genesis of my Batman fandom, which really solidified in the early 90s. I was thinking about this past summer because after Joel Schumacher died, I went back and revisited Batman and Robin and Batman and Forever, which I was fairly obsessed with. But the sort of start, I think, of my Batman fandom was Batman Returns, which I now realize was an inappropriately young age. But that really hooked me on. I wasn't a big superhero kid, really, but I was definitely a big Batman kid. And yeah, I would say I've been a sort of intermittent fan ever since. Yeah.
We've talked about those live action movies in the past, just in general.
Yeah.
I always say how when I was a little kid, of course I missed the initial releases of them.
Sure.
But I never rewatched the first Batman movie very often. Batman Returns maybe a little, but the second two, the Joel Schumacher ones,
yeah.
I loved them.
Absolutely.
As a kid.
I have to say, upon revisiting them, I was really astounded. I think they hold up. And I have to say, I know, TJ, you will disagree with me. I do not think Batman Returns actually holds up as well. I was shocked by, I found it to be really dour and overly misogynistic. I actually think Catwoman does not get a fair shake in Batman Returns.
I actually feel similarly.
Do you? Okay. That's such a relief because I know that it got a real appraisal in recent years, and it's a beautiful film. There are some absolutely. I do think it's stunning, but I was really turned off by revisiting it, which is strange because it was, like I said, it was the movie that it was so weird and it really gripped me. I was absolutely all in for Catwoman and Penguin. I was just fascinated. So,
yeah. I'm gonna have to rewatch it for a third time just so I can look for that stuff.
I'm in between on that. I think I like the movie overall, but Catwoman did not work for me.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
I love her licking people. It's my favorite thing.
Okay, once that stuff the campiness starts happening, it's a little better. But her whole backstory was infuriating.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing we have a Batcademic on to talk about adaptation, because what are we talking about today, TJ?
We are talking about Batman / Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by James Tynion IV.
That's right. Before we do, we're going to have our usual trivia game. Kyle, how well do you think you will do in this game?
Worse than TJ.
Well, let me tell you that TJ has never won this game.
No, I've tied a few times.
Okay, as good as TJ, as well as TJ.
All right, it may be another tie. I'm going to start out with the question that all of us who love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman probably want to know. There are 4 turtles. There are 4 Robins. What Robin personality best matches which turtle? So this can be a debate, and the best answer wins, or if you come to the same answer, it'll be a tie.
Oh my gosh, I think I only know 2 of the I genuinely, I didn't even realize there were 4. So I know that, well, no, hold on, wait a second.
No, that's fair. I didn't really know.
I know there are 3. I'm going to infuriate anybody listening to this. It's like, why is this fraud on the show? But I know, obviously, Tim Drake, right, is 1.
Yes, good. You know the one that this show cares about.
Damien, who
yes.
I came to understand is in fact Bruce's. Is he his son? Is that
he
true?
is? He is in fact his son.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
by Talia al Ghul.
Oh yes. Okay. I did know that. And then, well, the original Robin, of course, Dick Grayson, Chris O'Donnell, in my mind. Who's the 4th? Who am I missing?
Our favorite dead and not dead anymore Robin, Jason Todd.
Oh, Jason Todd. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. It's coming back to me. Sorry, having a Celine moment here.
So, Chris, do we have to name all 4 comparisons?
So do you not think you know the turtles after reading this one?
No, So I guess let me also ask: are you guys big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans?
No.
No.
I mean, I actually like them. To be clear, they just have never been part of anything I've read.
Okay.
This was fun. But
I watched the old movies and the old animated show as a kid.
Yeah, I watched them. I mean, this was what was weird about reading it too, was that I realized that my Batman fandom solidified it at the same time as my TMNT, because of course, right, we're talking about early 90s, the early 90s live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that was happening. I was like, why am I deriving so much pleasure out of this? And I was like, oh, it's because it is returning to me to some like prelapsarian state, before I knew how awful the world was and I could only experience it through comic books.
Just a double dose of nostalgia.
Yeah, but I will say I didn't keep up. Batman continued.
Right.
I would say TMNT, I definitely left. I wasn't familiar with the new. I know the new Nickelodeon iteration has. I mean, I heard it's good. I heard it. I know it's gotten some. So.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've consumed any turtle media since I was like 10.
Sure.
So there's a chance you both might tie on this question by answering.
Well, I have an answer prepared. A partial answer.
Okay, I'm excited.
Donnie is Tim because they're both techie and smart.
Okay.
Leonardo is the leader, I think, and he has a blue mask. So I'm gonna say Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Raphael could either be Damien or Jason Todd. I don't know if that answer holds up.
No, I think that's. I was gonna say Leonardo and Nightwing. I'm gonna say Damien Michelangelo. And then I don't really know about the other 2. I guess I would say Jason Todd, Raphael, and then who am I forgetting?
Tim.
Tim would be Donatello.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I feel like Mikey is too like jokey to be Damien. But I don't know. I guess Damien is like sassy. I don't know if that's the same though.
Interesting.
Chris, what did you have written?
Yeah.
Well, it's not that you had to match me, to be fair. I was going to go with the best answer either way. In my head, I was, we all agreed that the tech one is Tim, right? Like he has a computer. He loves it. He's Tim. I was thinking, I agreed with you all that Raphael could easily be Jason or Damien because they're just angry murder babies. Though I was actually thinking Michelangelo was Nightwing because they're both the most happy and like fun loving.
Oh, that's true.
Interesting. Yeah.
I would say Nightwing's probably smarter, but I do think they're both the ones that still have joy in their lives. So.
Well, that was a tie.
That was definitely a tie. I mean, like I said, you didn't have to come up with my answer there. You just had to come up with good answers, and they both were good answers. So.
Right. Kyle copied me a little bit.
I did.
I'm just kidding.
It was a team effort. All right. Well, this one might be more in Kyle's wheelhouse, but we'll see. So we read a franchise crossover for this. We read, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossing over with Batman. Can you name other franchises that have crossed over with Batman in its long run?
Oh gosh, this I should know.
I know one.
You okay?
Dracula.
That's true. I mean, is Dracula a franchise? Kyle, discuss.
That's a really, I would call it, I write about this in the book, shameless plug again, but I would call it an unaffiliated franchise. So like there have been times when a studio, right, like has a version of Dracula that they're going to promote through a series of films. But Dracula's a franchise like Jane Austen is a franchise in my
Ooh. Oh, that is an amazing, okay.
But I would say I would definitely say that's a crossover. I would definitely say that is.
Okay, DJ, you got that point.
Batman, I know I was a big fan of. Right, I left this out of my fandom, history, but I love the Adam West Batman a lot.
Yes.
And so I got really into Batman 66 when it first came out several years ago, I guess at this point. And I believe there was a Green Hornet. I want to say there was a Green Hornet crossover, and maybe was there a Star Trek one? I can't. Now I'm blanking.
I have one I just thought of when you mentioned Adam West. Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any others people can think
of others. I should know. I should know this.
There's one we've mentioned before, which is the Power Rangers.
Yes.
That's a Justice League crossover, though.
I think that I will count it. I think that counts.
Okay.
I'll allow it. Yes.
I'm trying to think of like other Warner Brothers properties.
There's been a rather interesting set of ones that happened very recently.
Okay.
There was a lot in the Lego Batman movie. Does that count?
Yeah, if you can think of some, go for it.
I can't.
TJ was like, can you count the fact that I know there were some?
Yeah.
All right. As final answers?
I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, I feel ashamed. I just have to guess here.
Okay.
Scooby-Doo is a good one. Star Trek. I'm not going to be Star Wars. I'm trying to think of other. I'm like, who does it make sense?
I'll throw out a hint that it's someone who doesn't make sense at all.
At all, right.
That is crossed over. It's a very strange crossover that I've been informed is quite good that recently came out.
Can you tell us? Because now I'm just really curious.
So Batman has a crossover with the Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes. See, okay, that
came to mind.
Come on, that's why I was trying to think of WB Pro. It's weird because the same time that Batman 66 came out, I was also really into Archie versus Predator, which I think is like a really, really brilliant crossover. And so I looked at the long history of Bizarro Archie crossovers, and there was like an Archie and Archie has crossover.
Archie has crossover with Batman.
With Batman, okay, I should have said Archie. Okay, I should have said Archie.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of strange ones. We're gonna have to read the Looney Tunes one at some point because it's supposed to be good, but we are at a strange place with only one question left, where TJ is actually winning for once.
Yay!
But there's time for that to change.
Okay.
We have one more question. So this might be a slightly harder one, but same rules as the last question. How many characters related to Batman, so it doesn't have to be direct family, it can just be in the Batman comics, can you name that actually have, so since we have our Batcademic on, that actually have higher education degrees of some type?
Oh my gosh.
Because not many of them do.
I mean, Tim Drake is really smart, but
yes, but he is how old, TJ? How old is Tim?
16 or 17.
He's not in college.
Okay. Yeah, he died before that could happen, right?
Several times.
But he's back, don't worry.
It's fine.
Yeah, I can't think of.
Yeah, I don't know their education histories, Chris.
I think you do, TJ. There's at least one that you're going to kick yourself for not mentioning.
Is it Oracle?
No. I can double check that, but I actually don't think so. Yes.
I know.
Yes. TJ.
Harley Quinn.
It's Harley Quinn.
Oh,
yes.
That's okay. I was thinking about. Oh gosh.
Dr. Harleen Quinzel. Yes.
But then
there are
Poison
other
Ivy. Does she count? She has a degree, right?
She does indeed. She has a degree. There's actually, here's your hint. Most of the characters are villains.
Oh, okay. Lucius doesn't have a degree?
Lucius does. I don't know what it's in.
He's got
Must have something. What other doctors are? I mean, Mr. Freeze.
Yes, good. There's more than one psychology doctorate running about in the villains.
Oh.
I think we both had the same idea there, maybe.
No, probably not, TJ. Just finish him. TJ.
Is it Hugo Strange?
Yes, Hugo Strange is a doctor, but there actually is one more.
Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow.
Yes!
Oh, duh.
TJ,
Oh my gosh.
good job. TJ, this is a tremendous moment for you.
I know. And I can't even relish in it because I just feel bad now.
No, I'm glad.
I destroyed you.
I'm glad I was party to an historic.
We are, what is this, our 12th episode? Are we 12 episodes in and you have won one?
I think so.
Congratulations, TJ. You are
Thank
1
you.
for 12.
Aw.
Welcome to another edition of Bat Cute, where we talk about meeting the Batman writers. For James Tynion IV, I've actually met him 3 times, and TJ, you've met him once. Is that right?
That is, yes, just the once.
Yeah. So the first 2 times I met him at Baltimore Comic-Con. The very first time I met him was when I went, I just started reading comics. I just started reading Batman. So I really didn't know the writers by name at that point. And I was just sort of wandering around and I struck up this conversation with him and was just chatting away. And somewhere mid-conversation, I look down and I see Batman Eternal, which was, of course, my favorite then and now. And I kind of screamed in his face and was like, "Did you work on this?" And he was like, "Do you not know who I am?" Very kindly, but also he thought like the whole conversation that I knew who I was talking to, and I did not. But he was so charming and very sweet about it. And I asked him some questions about it, which I wish now I could remember what he said. But it amounted to that he loved working on it. He was just so baffled that I hadn't known who he was, that I think he was just trying to recover from that.
Don't you know me? You know who I am?
And it wasn't like that. Like, it wasn't like that, but also it was kind of like, why are you here then?
Right.
And the answer was, I saw a giant Batman poster and walked directly toward it, was the whole answer.
On brand.
The next year at Baltimore Comic-Con, I went back and I knew he was going to be there. So I dressed up as Spoiler and I went up to his booth as Spoiler, and he looks up and sees me and he lets out this like happy little squeal, and we got a picture together, and he was so delighted to see a Spoiler cosplayer. So it was...
You'll have to tweet out some pictures of that, Chris.
Oh, absolutely will. It was such a great time. So the third time I met him was the time I met him with you, TJ. Do you have any memories of that moment?
So I feel like I've brought it up a couple times that I was just kind of going through the motions. Like, you were like, "Oh, here's this Batman writer, come do it with me." I was like, okay, like I've read some of his other stuff and enjoyed it, sure. So I was there just to be there. But just recently, the issue we got was his signed first issue of his current Batman run. And, you know, a cool thing to have, but I just actually caught up on his run and I love it. So the fact that I have this signed issue now, like, means so much to me, even though at the time I didn't appreciate it. I do now, and I really want to meet him again.
Yeah. So you had a similar experience to my first time meeting him. And I feel like we'll come up a few times, the many times I've dragged TJ to meet Batman writers with me.
Meeting him, I did not think I would ever be reading his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover.
And aren't you glad we are?
Yes, here I am, and I can't complain too much.
Well, on that note, maybe we should jump into this comic.
Yes, let's get into the meat of Batman / TMNT.
Yeah.
So am I the only one that chuckles whenever the title is / like they don't know fan fiction exists?
Yeah, right. Well, it's curious because the movie changes it to verses, and yet there's no, if anything, they are more, I don't want to get too lost in the movie, but they're more simpatico there. So.
Oh no, I watched the movie so we could get lost in
Good.
They definitely cut all of those super homoerotic Bruce Raphael stuff.
We have to talk about that because TJ told me that before I read it, and I was like, that can't be true. And I was reading it and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, but they do replace it with Barbara Donatello.
Oh
Yes.
no.
Yes,
Don't
Yep.
like that better at all.
Hey, I'm here for
Yes.
it. I just love the turtles being in Gotham City. Like I thought they fit in with the mythology really well.
I agree. I think it's really early on at the beginning where we see them in the sewer and just Killer Croc comes along and is like, "Who's in my sewer?"
Yeah, that was really clever having Killer Croc run into them.
I do love that both universes just have a lot of sewer running about.
Yeah. So do you guys have a favorite turtle?
I do.
Okay. Who's your favorite turtle?
The one I had a stuffed animal voice on it was Donatello.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Aw. I always liked Raphael or Mikey. I liked them a lot as a kid.
I like Mikey a lot. I mean, I think everyone liked, Michelangelo a lot, but
yeah. Do you have a turtle that you feel like is you? Like that's me as a turtle?
Mikey.
Yeah, TJ, you are a Mikey. I love that.
probably more. I probably am more of a Donatello, I would think. Yeah.
I don't know.
In the movie, they do such a good job in the movie of like, not now, like he's just, constantly pontificating.
Yeah, I feel like that's true. I think I relate to Donatello as well.
Yeah.
Poor Leonardo. I feel like nobody ever picks him as the favorite and or picks him as the one they relate to.
You're a little bit Leonardo.
What?
You're a leader.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet of you. I don't think so, but okay. What are his personality traits? Because leader is not a personality trait, right? That's just
that's all I can tell you about him.
See, this is why he's not people's favorite, because he did like nothing and said nothing in this, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. He was like the straight man to, I think, the rest of I felt like, to the rest of the turtles.
That makes sense. Yeah, and Raphael's just always. I feel like I haven't taken in a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle media, but everyone I read, Raphael gets mad and goes off on his own. Is that okay? That's just all of them.
I love that, and there's a scene in the movie where they like really call that out, and it's great.
Oh, good.
Chris, you got to watch the movie. It was really
all
fun.
right. I will do it.
Okay. Did anyone else forget about the Foot Clan? Because I forgot they were called that. And I was like, what is this kinky warriors cat group? What is this?
Don't you dare kink shame the Foot Clan, TJ.
I love that you called them the Warrior Cat Clan. That's very accurate. That is what a Warrior Cat Clan would be named.
Yeah.
I did forget about. I always forget, to be fair, which clan is the Hand and which clan is the Foot. The hand is who fights Daredevil, right? and is that correct, DJ?
Yeah.
You know Marvel better than I do. Okay.
Yes.
So the Hand fights Daredevil and the Foot fights the Turtles. Got it.
I had not forgotten about the Foot Clan, but I had forgotten that the Turtles had a van with like a symbol of a foot with a, like the Ghostbusters red line through it, which they feature in the movie, which is just the most bizarre.
That is so funny.
Such a weird emblem.
What is the deal with the Foot Clan? Are they like brainless zombie ninjas? Because they kind of have weird implications in this, where they take them to Arkham and they're all like kind of hypnotized or brainwashed or something. I was super unclear what was happening with that.
I don't even remember that part, to be honest.
Okay. My psych brain, I was like, what is happening? Why did they send them to Arkham? And why are they trying to deprogram them? I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, my Turtles knowledge is limited.
No, mine does not stretch far enough. In the movie, they do take the mask off of one and like transform. Like you do see one of the Foot Clan out of the garb, but there's also again in the film, I'm sorry, Chris,
it's fine,
like the Fly Doctor. TJ, is that a recurring Turtles character that I completely blanked on, or was it just a stupid riff on Jeff, because they had a like Jeff Goldblum voice?
Right.
Amazing.
So I have no idea. Okay. I assumed it was an original character.
Okay, that was my assumption. Yeah, well, it was weird because then the Foot Clan they were all styled to look like flies, right? Which I mean they do kind of in the comic book as well, but very odd.
Kyle, did you like the movie more than the book?
Right, this is like dangerous water for an adaptation scholar to get into. I did not, actually. I will say I preferred the multiverse conceit. It was funny, I was looking at the thread on Twitter when you had sort of tweeted about the watching the film, and someone was like, oh, I liked the fact that they were in the universe. So Chris, sorry, in the movie,
Yes.
they all exist in the same universe. The Turtles are they're just tracking down Batman. They're tracking down Shredder, and they end up meeting Batman. Whereas obviously in the book, it's this, multiverse conceit. And I don't know, I found that the stakes for me, TJ, in the movie were much lesser because it felt a little more pedestrian, like,
right.
And Shredder's plan in the film is like with Ra's al Ghul is to like, it's so lame. To my mind, it was like a very typical, we're going to dust the whole city in a combination of the mutagen and Joker poison, and it felt really like same.
Yeah.
The book I thought was really I felt the stakes, and the book I felt was also the family stuff in the book, which I did want to talk about. I was like, wow, this is Tynion is really going for it, which I thought was really cool. I liked.
I agree. I feel like, because it's kind of a theme all the way through. So we can jump into the family stuff now if you want, because that was definitely my favorite part and the emotional beat for me. And we've read Tynion on the show before. He's one of our favorite writers. For this reason, because I feel like this is a theme he returns to. Found family is his thing. And I guess the Turtles are technically actually family, but not with Splinter, right? He's not actually related to them. This is my lack of turtle knowledge here.
He birthed those turtles.
Look, I don't know.
Yeah, he adopted them, I'm pretty sure.
Thank you for clarifying.
Right. Yeah.
But the idea of found family, I think, is always a theme when Tynion writes, and I loved it in this. I thought it was really strong.
Yeah, and Tynion, like, he is a queer writer, so I feel like that's a very queer theme to include.
Right.
I know. Yes. I'm just thinking of RuPaul being like, "You choose your family,"
Yeah.
But it is. It really is that.
It is.
I did find that, like, I found that beat. I guess it's roughly in the middle of the book where he takes Leonardo to Crime Alley was like really profound. It was the movie doesn't attempt anything like that kind of emotional freight, or weight. But the book really. I really liked the juxtaposition it sets up between Batman and Leonardo specifically, which the film, as TJ knows, it turns into more like a mentor-mentee relationship, which I found just a little bit. He sort of Batman is sort of daddy to all the Turtles because Splinter is not in the film. Splinter is missing. So
yeah, that was weird.
So Batman's wearing the daddy hat. I wish he was wearing the literal daddy hat from this week, but. So I found the sort of emotional work in the book really compelling.
Now, because I'm me, I have to say, was he wearing the daddy hat or was he wearing the daddy hat?
Both.
Okay, thank you, TJ.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything that you're saying, Kyle. Like that alley scene in particular, like I thought that was a really good scene, but having read so much Batman recently.
Yeah.
Every book he's like he has a scene where it's basically that.
Yeah.
I definitely recently tweeted out that we've got 0 days without Batman talking about his dead parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now every time it comes up, I'm like, God, we get it. They're dead.
Yeah.
Pearls, yes.
In this context, it really surprised me, I guess, though, because I thought this is a turtle story. You know what I mean? This was not the venue in which I expected Alfred to be like, oh, anyway, next week is the anniversary of your parents' horrific death.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, like that's where it starts.
And they cut that out from the movie too.
Yeah,
Oh,
they absolutely did. They absolutely did. I mean, they substitute it with the crew. Obviously, comes in like Batgirl. Obviously Barbara's in it, and the Robin. I guess it's just who's it? No, who's in the movie? TJ, is it just Damian?
It's Damian and Barbara.
It's just Damian and Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Damian is in this one as well.
Right.
Yeah. Oh God, I loved. They straight up adapt like that scene of Damian just destroying the turtles in the cave.
Yeah,
that was amazing. So TJ, this is your first time reading Damian, not written by Grant Morrison, right?
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
How do you feel about Damian now that we're reading a different writer?
I can't tell really how much I like Damian because like he's such a dick, but he also has like some of the best lines when he's written well, and I feel like in this book he was written well, so like he had a few lines where I was like, oh, that's actually really, really clever. And like, I still don't like you as a person right now, but he's entertaining.
I think I will bring you around on Damian one of these days. He is one of my favorites as well. I love him a great deal, but we read the original Damian comic recently, Kyle, and it is a rough go, I will say.
Yeah, Grant Morrison is.
Well, if you said Grant Morrison wrote it, then yeah.
We have a complicated relationship with Grant Morrison on this here show.
Yeah.
But yes, Grant Morrison created Damian. I think Damian has come a long way since that, and I like Damian a lot better now, under Peter Tomasi's writing.
Right. So I do like Damian more when he's not written by Morrison, for sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yes, I agree. I think the book was much more emotional, whereas the film, I thought the film had a little bit more humor. Even like it kind of took the humorous parts of the book and then added in like 100% more.
Yeah.
Okay. You have me sold. I will watch it at least to see the differences.
What about when Alfred was like, he had a shotgun and he's like, I know how to make turtle stew. You better watch yourself.
This continual running thing in the comics kills me, because somebody pointed this out. Shout out to Red Panda on TikTok for pointing this out, that the final defense of the Batcave is always Alfred with a shotgun. Like, once all of the high tech is gone, it's Alfred with a shotgun, and he still usually wins.
Yeah.
Whenever I see him with a shotgun, like the panel in this book exactly is like a mirror of that pull the trigger Piglet. It's so funny.
It's great, but he's like really tough. You don't mess with Alfred. He doesn't. There's one panel, and now I can't remember which comic it is. I'm sure our listeners are shouting out to me which one it is. But there is a comic where he basically is like, Batman has a rule about not killing, Alfred doesn't.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
He's like, he's ready to just fuck shit up. He really is.
Did either of you also laugh every time Batman just went, turtles?
Yeah, so where we start out at the beginning, the turtles are just trying to like lay low, but they can't because they are literal turtles. And Batman is like, what is going on with these turtles? And trying to like kind of follow along the trail. And it's so funny, him like trying to figure out what kind of horrible mutants have attacked his city. And it's these adorable teenagers that want pizza.
And he thinks they're metahumans.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean,
like,
what else would they be?
Coming back to them from another universe and dying conversation, I feel like taking that plot point out really does lower the stakes.
Right.
I do like that they share mythology because it feels natural in the film, but you do lose those stakes.
Yeah. So the thing that's going on, from what I understand, again, it's been a long time since I've been involved in anything turtle related. But so they have to take regularly the I
don't think so. I think they like swam in it as little tiny turtles.
So what was the deal with it here? Was it just because a new universe?
Yeah, I think that's the way they explain it, is like basically the fabric of their DNA or whatever is being pulled apart the longer that they stay, in the Batverse.
And why was that not affecting Shredder?
Because he's not a mutant.
Okay, so it's only mutant DNA that unravels when you travel. This lore, I got a little lost in the science babble. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, what are they talking about?
But I guess Splinter was dying too, right?
I think he was, right?
He just doesn't show it because he's very stoic.
He's so old. He's always dying. It's fine.
So can we talk about Splinter? Because his dynamic with Batman was kind of hilarious. I love that Batman was just like, yes, this is now my sensei. Like, I will learn from him.
Yeah, he had a really good line that was like, what's stranger, a turtle acting as a man or a man acting as an animal?
Bat, yeah.
Or an animal act. Yeah.
That's the best line. Yeah, that's the best. And of course,
like, he's like, really, Batman? You're going to call us weird? Look at yourself, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of the aspects I really loved, was the sort of all the different hybridity, which of course it's in a story, it's in a crossover, you know what I mean? That just like it played around with those different registers, and then of course it culminates in the Arkham, which I think is a really cool, it looks like a splash page when you read it, but it's not. But that sort of reveal of the Arkham crew in their transformed states is so just cool.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I love that. I wrote down which animals they were because I was like kind of fascinated. So we have Riddler Fox, which I think is adorable. Sorry, I was watching it. I was looking at that scene and I was just like very cute. Bane was an elephant, which was fun. Probably the best one though was Frost was a polar bear.
Yep.
Yeah. They give a really extended scene with their fight in the film.
Hugely extended, yeah.
So did anyone peg what kind of animal Harley is? Because I was continually looking at her weird 3 toes, but like cat face, and I could not figure out.
In the movie, she's a dog, right, TJ? It's like a jackal, maybe. I was like, is she supposed to be a hyena? It's very odd.
Yeah, she almost looks like that Hanna-Barbera like golden retriever sidekick dog that's in there. She's basically that.
Interesting, because in the comic she looks like kind of dog, kind of leopard, but has like 3 dinosaur toes. It was.
I mean, honestly, they could have changed it in the film because Joker was a snake in the movie, and I know Bane was like Tony the Tiger.
The movie version of Bane was so bizarre. I was like, was this a budget issue? Because they just didn't.
I do think Joker was a snake in the comic as well.
Yeah, he's a cobra in both. In the movie, though, he has a tail. He is like fully.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, he is fully reptilian. Yeah.
Tiger Bane reminded me of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island with the cat people. That's basically what he was.
Now, I think the best one was the praying mantis Ivy.
Yeah,
that was really. She looked amazing.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then it's weird again in the movie. She's just like a plant. She's like a Venus flytrap. The one that made me like laugh out loud though was in the book. It's Two-Face like a baboon, but in the movie he just like has 2 cat heads. They're just they're just like make him a cat.
That's horrifying.
There's no logic to it, but
that's very strange.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that.
I liked Polar Bear Mr. Freeze in his like suit in the book was really cool. In the movie, he's literally just a polar bear on like all fours.
I love it in the book, and then the scene where Michelangelo just hugs him, and he is like, "It's a polar bear with ice powers. I love him."
You've got the puns down, and it just makes me think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze.
So how do we feel about this kind of portrayal of Batman as a lot more fun-loving and smiling and like loving and easily expressing emotion than we've ever read him?
I feel like the story, like the arc, his character arc in this book is like asking for help. And I've mentioned that a few times that I really like that aspect of Bruce. So I like it.
I liked it a lot too. This was actually really charming. I love how they make him laugh a few times and they make him eat pizza. Alfred's like trying to get him to eat all this gourmet food all the time, and they're like, try pizza. So apparently Alfred needed to treat Bruce like a 13-year-old and then he'd actually eat his food.
Yeah, well, there's that like great beat at the beginning where Alfred says something to the effect of like, oh, you always throw yourself into some project, right around this time. And Batman's like, no, there is like this actual pressing threat, but then they kind of weave that, I'm sorry, TJ, as they always do, the childhood trauma like back into, the arc itself.
I do love this kind of idea that's introduced in this comic that I don't think I've seen in any others, where Batman basically does craft project to deal with his emotions. Like I'm here for it. I really love the line where Alfred's like, let's not have a repeat of the flamethrower incident. I was like, I need to know 1,000% more about what happened.
I like the relationship here between Bruce and Damian. It's a very prominent thing in the film and the book, but again, they're very different. In the book, I feel like it's a little deeper in the book, and at the end, it's more about like being together and meeting one another and allowing yourself to help one another. And then in the film, it's more like, oh, Bruce is a hard ass on Damian, and by the end, he allows him to eat a slice of pizza, and it's like, okay, you're a good dad. Like, but I like both.
I really liked the emotional beats with Damian because it starts with Alfred saying that Bruce should call him, basically say, I need help. And he's like, no, I'm not going to ask for help. I'm Batman. Right. And then by the end, of course, Alfred calls him because Alfred's like, no. And he shows up and he apologizes for forgetting the anniversary, that he had intended to be home for it. It was really sweet.
Yeah, that was a really good ending, I think.
Yeah. And Damien like clearly gets what he needs, and they put together the craft project together.
Now, do you think there was a question I had about that part where they were like, let's go do something, and then it was like, well, no, let's do this instead. And in my mind, I was like, oh, did Damien actually want to work on that? Was it the suit they were working on?
Yeah, the way I understood that scene, so Alfred was like, what if we have a cute family moment and we watch old videos, and Bruce is like already looking at the exit like, oh no, and Damien goes, how about we do crafts? Let's do crafts.
So do you think, is Damien so much like Bruce, they're biological, like, is he so much like him that he also has that interest, or was he like being selfless and wanting to do something because Bruce wanted to do it?
It's a good question. I mean, I think they are very much alike. So I think that Damien did get that he needed it, but I also think that Damien would have wanted to do it. So I think maybe both.
Okay. So I feel like we have to talk about, is this a fanfic?
Yes, in the best way. Yes, I think so.
What makes you say that, TJ?
Well,
what makes
Kyle,
you ask that?
I know you love 50 Shades of Grey and its connection to fan fiction. And reading this, it just reminded me of like anyone on AO3 or fanfiction.net. Like, you know what? There's probably a fan fiction very similar to this that was written before this book came out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like just meshing two franchises it just intrinsically has a fan fiction vibe.
Yeah.
It comes down to obviously those kind of like institutional barriers, right? That like when we see crossovers, we think something like impossible has happened, right? Because, you know, these characters from this universe and these characters from this universe are together, and the only reason that seems impossible is because of like the economics of media, right? Like, and interestingly, it's the economics of media that are also fueling, of course, the crossover, so that it's like, if you like Batman, you may, customers who purchase Batman, may also be interested in. So I totally agree with you. I think it has the air of fanishness, even while obviously it's still a, mainstreamed product. The serial numbers have been filed off, so to speak.
Yeah. I think I would even say not even just the crossover, but the kind of focus on emotional beats with the characters. And so to be clear, listeners, I would never say fan fiction as a pejorative. I love fan fiction. I think there's a lot of amazing fan fiction out there. And we have talked before and probably will talk again about how fan fiction sort of opens the door for writers who are marginalized in various ways to have a voice and see themselves represented by creating it. Like, there's a lot of beautiful ways fan fiction is used. And one of the things that fan fiction does is focus on the moments that aren't big and splashy, that aren't fight scenes. They tend to like have a lot of character moments and beats, which I thought, there's a couple of fight scenes. They're only a few pages long. Most of this comic is, what if these two characters from different universes talked about their feelings together? And I love that. I'm here for it.
That's a good point. Like, the fights are fun, but I thought just as much fun in the book was seeing how the characters interacted from different universes.
Yeah, do we want to talk about that? Because there's kind of different dynamics going on between the Turtles and the different Bat characters that are really fun to talk about, I think, from this.
Bruce Raphael.
Yeah, please, TJ, give us your pitch for why Bruce Raphael. For the listeners out there, Raphael is a teenager, so we're going to assume he is an adult by the time this happens. Now go.
Well, I don't seriously ship it, but I feel like the undertones were there. Like, if this had been two humans that were different genders, people would be all over it. But,
are you sure people aren't all over it? Have you looked at AO3?
Okay, I have not looked in that tag or the hashtags on Twitter yet. But like I see they're very Bruce opening up to him and seeing so much of himself in Raphael. And then at the end, when Raphael gives him his red mask, like that wasn't in the movie. That was probably the biggest emotional beat in the whole book, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I agree. I loved the Raphael things. And it was, which one of them, I'm pulling a blank now, which one of them was just sort of enamored with Batman the entire time? Was it Leonardo?
No.
It was No, it wasn't Mikey.
Yeah.
No, it was Leonardo. So Leonardo's the one that trains with him and is like basically turns him into a second, like, you're my sensei, basically. It's really cute, I think.
Gotcha.
Right? And Raphael's like, why are you fawning over this man who's clearly unwell?
Mikey was the one that had the board and was like, fangirling.
That was one of my favorite moments. I definitely took a screenshot of that board because I was like, this is us talking about Batman. Reasons why he's cool. Reasons why he's uncool.
Mikey definitely had a crush on Batman.
He wanted to play with the dinosaur. He just like wanted all the Batcave toys.
Yeah, when he rides the dinosaur, like there's a metaphor there.
I loved it. I loved that moment. Mikey was just having a blast. Them getting to drive one of the Batmobiles was also very cute.
Yeah, just seeing how they interact with the world.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like one of the I think it may be one of the reasons we as audiences are drawn to or repelled by crossovers, because it typically involves the characters kind of reckoning with, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like Batman has to sort of articulate what the Turtles are, the Turtles have to articulate what Batman is. So they're always meta. They're always meta, right? And again, that goes back to that fanfic feel, I think, that you all are pinpointing, that you get these sort of like explainers of the universe.
We have to talk about Donatello and Barbara in the film. Kyle, was I reading too much into it?
No, I that's like there from the first scene, I think. Absolutely.
And they exchange numbers at the end.
That's right. Yeah.
Which Chris, her not codename, her username online is Oracle.
Oh, cute.
Like a nice little thing.
I like it.
And I don't know how big into Doctor Who you are, but Donatello's username was bow staffs are cool, and a big Doctor Who thing is bow ties are cool. So
cute.
Yeah,
that's cute. Oh, I like it. So how did we like this Shredder and Ra's al Ghul team up?
It's what I expected. So the fact that it happened when it was revealed, I was like, okay, this was like if I was writing this on AO3, and in a good way.
I wanted these two overly dramatic men with their capes to work together. It was very entertaining. They had those like because Shredder completely talks like he does in the cartoons and the comics of Turtles, and he never stops, and it stands out so dramatically when he's talking to anyone except for Ra's al Ghul, because they both have that. So they're just grandstanding together the whole comic, and I love it.
Like when they're like, who's going to be the villain of this? You're like, well, they both have ninjas. just put them together and then throw a penguin in there for some reason.
Yes. Penguin in there to be like, I don't want this. This is like, please, no. We have enough ninjas. Let's not do this again.
The final battle is kind of blurred for me from watching the movie too. Like, is it Bruce and Leonardo like switch off the villains? Is that right?
Yes, and that was really cool. I if listeners, if you ever wanted to see Ra's al Ghul roundhouse kick a turtle in the face, this is the comic for you.
I don't think this happened in the book, but in the movie we get Batman saying "Cowabunga."
Yeah. Definitely did not happen in the book. Yeah.
I cannot believe it didn't happen in the book.
Yeah.
Nobody said "Cowabunga" in the book. I noted that. Not even the turtles. It was very sad. We did get a scene of Michelangelo riding his skateboard around the mansion and getting fussed at by Alfred repeatedly, which was adorable.
Raphael looked really naked without his mask.
I didn't like it.
That was very strange.
Ugh, is that what their faces look like? Oh my gosh. It was uncomfortable.
And this Batman gets near the end was definitely like an Iron Man variant.
So was it just me? I just assumed that wasn't Batman in the suit for a little while, because we just seen him fighting, and then it shows up and I'm like, ooh, who put on the suit? Is it Alfred? Because that has happened before. But then I was like, when did he do that? When did that happen? I was so confused.
Kyle, have you seen the Harley Quinn cartoon at all?
I have not. I really want. I know it's gotten
so
good reviews. Yeah,
it's very good. But Damien's voice actor in that show is a 10-year-old boy. So reading his lines in the book as this 10-year-old voice actor makes them so much better. And watching the film, you can tell it's like a 40-year-old man trying to sound like Boy.
I will say, 'cause I haven't in any of the other Damien adorations heard that voice actor in my head until this one. I don't know what it was about these lines, but I was exactly picturing the voice from Harley Quinn, and it was
Yeah.
killing me. It was so funny. I do love that he shows up and he's immediately jealous of Batman making friends with turtles. He's like, I'm the teenager in your life, me.
Oh yeah. Yep. So I have a question about Damien and how he's portrayed in a certain scene. Near the end, Bruce is like on the verge of being murdered, and he's like, leave me, complete the mission, and Damien just straight up leaves Bruce to die. Like, I feel like that was an in-character thing, but like, do you think he's the only Robin that would do that?
Tim Drake would never, because as we know, our beloved Tim Drake never leaves behind a suicide mission. If he can help it, he will throw himself into danger. He'd be like, Bruce, you leave me, I'll die. Because that's just him. Dick probably wouldn't, I don't think. I was trying to think of like the many years of different dynamics they've had together, and I don't think he would. I also, believe it or not, don't think Jason would, for all of his like, I personally will kill you, Batman. I don't think he would leave him to die because he's mostly bluster about that. So yeah, I think maybe Damien is the only one who would do it.
And going back to like Bruce as a good parent, is it good to tell your son to leave you to die and give him that trauma? Like if you were to die?
I guess if he was trying to keep him from dying.
I guess. He's already in the field and he's like
no.
10.
I did love that it was it Ra's al Ghul? Yeah, it was Ra's al Ghul that's like roasting Batman for always using teenagers when the turtles show up, and he's like, wow, more teenagers? Wow.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. One of my notes from before that was, careful, he's gonna adopt them.
So I enjoyed this book. Would you guys, there's two more sequels, or there are two sequels to this. Would you read them? Did you like it enough?
Yeah, I definitely did.
100%. Yeah, I will read it. In fact, I'm downloading it already.
Like, I'm intrigued to see what they do, and they're written by Tynion, so like, I'm sure they're good, but I'm at a place after finishing this one where I'm like, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I don't need it dragged out, and like, I don't know. And I'm not a huge Turtles fan, so I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Turtles fan, obviously, but I enjoyed this enough to read all of them. I thought it was very fun. I like I said, I enjoy seeing a happier Batman, and it was kind of light and delightful.
Supposedly the next one is like Batman going to their city.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys can read it. Tell me how it is.
Will do.
I think, I mean, I would definitely, the thing about crossovers for me is that I do feel like they sort of artificially seem like it's going to be like these two disparate worlds colliding, but more often than not, it's actually about how similar those two fictional worlds are. You know, I just taught the Jetsons Meet the Flintstones last semester. And it's the same deal where it's like, yeah, okay, so it's the future in the Stone Age, but it's the same nuclear family. It's the same like tired, like lame dad jokes. Like, you know, of course they get along. Of course they get together. So I feel the same way about this. Like, it doesn't feel that eventful, if that makes any sense. It almost feels sort of like, yeah, of course, Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I will say there was a moment when Raphael was like, our city is just as grimy as Gotham. And I was like, no, it is not. First of all, I might not know a lot about turtles, but I know for one thing, you have daylight there.
One thing that, another thing that didn't work in the film because of changing the fact that they just came from New York in the film, they had no idea who Batman was. And I was like, how would you not know who Batman is?
Yeah.
In what world, when he is literally part of the Justice League and they have a satellite that everybody knows about?
Oh, and I wanted to say, Batman in the film is played by Troy Baker, who played him in the Telltale video games.
Oh, yay!
I was trying to figure out. Okay, yeah, I was curious about the voices afterwards, and I was like, I recognize that name, but I couldn't place who it was.
Yeah, and like he does, it's basically a Kevin Conroy impression.
Yeah,
in the
it
film.
sounds a hell of a lot like Kevin Conroy.
It's very good. Whereas in Telltale, it was very different. They used, like a voice changer in his bat suit.
Yeah.
But he's so good. He might be my favorite Batman after Kevin Conroy.
I thought he was very good. I was shocked to hear Rachel Bloom show up as Batgirl. Like, took me a few minutes to sort of be like, is that and
Darren Criss was Raphael.
Darren Criss. Yeah, Darren Criss is Raphael.
I can't believe they had Darren Criss and Rachel Bloom and it wasn't a musical. Like, what?
Yes. Oh no, that is what I want to see. That would
yes, Batman the musical. Get on it.
Can you imagine?
I would absolutely die of happiness.
Yeah.
What would you guys rate this book? 1 out of 5 batarangs.
You know, when I started it out, I was like, I think I'll enjoy this, but it won't be that great. And by the end of it, I was going so hard for this book. I was like, 5 stars, 5 batarangs. I loved it.
Yeah, I'd give it a solid 4. I have little to no complaint.
I am going with Kyle. I also did a 4. Like, it was really fun and I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but for what it was, I thought it was really, really, really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And did you guys have a favorite part?
Yeah, I love the family drama of it all. So probably the part where the very, emotional scene where they're talking about the ninjas, like, or the turtles, like unraveling DNA, and Batman's talking about what family means to him. And it's kind of all woven in there with the Raphael conversation. I love that scene a lot.
I really liked, as I already said, probably the crime alley scene, stereotypical as it is. It just because it took me so entirely by surprise.
Yeah.
And then, like, more cheaply, I really loved the Arkham reveal of the variously mutated inmates. I thought that was just cool on a visceral
100%.
level.
Yeah.
And I already mentioned Raphael giving Bruce his mask. I thought that was the best emotional beat. But if I had to pick a scene from the book, which is like the most iconic, at least in my opinion, and maybe partly in thanks to the film adapting it, was Damian fighting them in the Batcave, and you just get that really one of the turtles just being like, "What are you, 5?" And it's just so good. That's a perfect scene.
We forgot to mention one of the best scenes in this was when Batman and Leonardo fight, and Leonardo actually wins. That scene was amazing.
When Splinter's like, "Watch your footing, he's testing you."
Yeah, and Batman's like, "My footing, or his footing is great," and Splinter's like, "Not his footing," and then he just flips him, and then Batman just kind of smiles like, "I'm so proud of you, tiny turtle."
Yeah, that was great.
Kyle, if you could write a Batman story, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, what a great question. Something definitely, again, given my love of full confession, my fandom of Batman and Robin and Batman Forever did extend to fanfic. So I still have not recovered, but I have somewhere handwritten journals. I got Batman, lined journals, old school analog journals that I filled with fanfic about Batman and Robin, and mostly Poison Ivy. That was the sort of fixation at the time. So probably it would be, I don't know, something, I'd probably do a time travel story. Something that would I would really like to do. And I actually think the Ninja Turtles did something like this, with the Nickelodeon series did something like this, where you got present day, and maybe this has already been done in the Batverse, but one of the present day Batmans, or maybe all the different film Batmans meeting older iterations of Batman to do a team up of some sort.
Ooh, I love that.
I think that's what I do.
I love that.
That Flash movie is coming out with Michael Keaton.
Is it?
Oh,
is it?
Right.
Yeah.
That Flash movie that's been coming out for 5 years.
Right.
Supposedly they're going to start filming in April.
I will believe it when I see it. They've been gonna start filming 5 different times.
That's right. I forgot that Keaton's gonna come. I guess what I want to do is Multiplicity, but it's Batman instead of just Michael Keaton.
I would be down with that, but we cannot just simply go past the fact that you've told us you are a fan fiction writer.
Well, it's weird because I never really online, but I wish I knew where those journals were. But I was really, like I said, obsessed by the Schumacher film,
I love it.
And that version really, really spoke to me.
I am a Batman fan fiction writer currently. So this made me
Awesome.
very excited.
What's like your dream Batman story that you would write?
Oh, nobody's actually asked me this, but the answer, of course, is Tim, and then I just have to
Yeah.
fill in the details.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I would write one where, similar to kind of Batman and Robin Eternal. I like the idea of, for some reason, Batman's taken off the field and the Robins have to kind of take over taking care of Gotham for a while. I love that kind of thing. But then I would have, because I'm me, a lot more slice of life moments between them actually getting to be siblings. I would have lots of them interacting with Cass, because that doesn't happen often enough. Lots of them interacting with Duke, because that never happens. Just like actually family, like that would be what I would want. And then, because again, our listeners are not going to be surprised, I will have a scene in there where Tim Drake and Dick finally talk about the fact that Dick replaced him without asking. There we go. What I have wanted for years.
Chris, were you just reading from your outline that you have prepared?
Are you saying, have I already written this fic? Yes. It's on the internet. If anyone finds it, good luck.
Oh,
Well, Kyle, if you ever write your Batman fanfic, give us a
I'll
link.
share. I was just thinking, I was like, I also really love Arkham, which is probably
Ooh.
why I really like that scene. So I'm like, oh, I could do something where it's like a hallucinatory thing, maybe not a time travel thing, where Batman is confronting all his previous iterations, like in the guises of the different, something really meta, like, you know,
I
with
love
like
it.
different forms. So I'm gonna start workshopping this.
I love it. Then come on and do a dramatic reading for us.
Yeah.
We'll be your beta readers.
That would be amazing.
I
So
would love
if we ever do an episode about fan fiction, do you want to join us?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yes. I've been trying to get TJ to do this for a while so I can force him to read fan fiction.
Hey, that sounds like I don't want to do it. I do want to.
I'll be
Looking
TJ that week, and then maybe I'll win the trivia game.
Yeah.
Yeah, rematch. And Kyle, where can our listeners find you on social media? And do you have any upcoming projects they should be looking out for?
I'm easily findable on social media at Kyle Meikle, KyleMeikle, and nothing that's coming out anytime soon. Though I just found out recently, I'm starting work on my next book, which is going to be about live action animated hybrid movies.
I thought you were going to say Batman.
Oh, well, Batman will come into it because there's going to be a chapter about superhero films and the ways that movies like Batman Returns, for instance, were some of the earliest displays of CGI that you wouldn't at the time necessarily have been looking for as CGI. So it's like some of the first animation you see on like mainstream big budget live action movies is obviously in superhero movies. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was the name of your currently out book again? So our readers.
That is Adaptations in the franchise era. And it has, you'll know you're in the right place because Katniss Everdeen is on the cover.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
We're here for it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking Batman TMNT with us.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thanks, TJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listeners, we're back with yet another Outsider of the Week. Who's our outsider this week, TJ?
This week, we have two newbie outsiders that joined us on Twitter and found our podcast, and we are so excited to welcome Kiddo Cut and Punk Sailor Scout. Thank you so much for joining us, and we've had so much fun talking to you on Twitter and getting to know you both.
Yeah. Welcome, and you are now outsiders. Next time, we'll be reading
Super Sons Volume 1, When I Grow Up, by Peter J. Tomasi and Jorge Jimenez. And joining us will be
Sarwat Chadha, writer of City of the Plague God, one of Rick Riordan Presents titles. I am so excited to talk with Sarwat. I absolutely adore his book, which if you haven't read it, get out there and read it right now. He is such a good writer. It is such a fun time, and I'm excited to talk to him about Batman.
So excited, and I hear he is another Star Wars author, and I do love me them.
Yes, exactly. And we're going to be reading Super Sons, which, as listeners of our show know, is one of my favorite titles of all time.
This is part of Chris's journey to convince me to like Superman.
And it will work. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Gotham Outsiders. You can find me, Chris, on Twitter at The Myth of Psyche, where I talk about feminism, queerness, and frequently Batman. And you can find my co-host, TJ.
at Troyfin2 on Twitter, where I talk about all things book related and occasionally Batman related, although a little bit more frequently nowadays.
And you can find Gotham Outsiders on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Gotham Outsiders, where we talk about Batman all the time. So join us next time, same bat time, same bat place.